So the last video I made was really interesting because uh, it was my take on the new DLC based on my point of view as a professional game developer. And I say it was interesting because I didn't really know you guys were so interested on the development of the game. You know, I thought it's just like you just want to play the game and you don't want to say the behind the scenes. So as some of you may know, I made this Mansa Quarry on Unreal Engine 5. Was my take on the realistic version of the Malian landmark. But you know, like a really like more realistic take and whatever. So now that you know that you're kind of interested on this, and I don't know why I didn't make this earlier, but let's go for a little bit of a breakdown how I made this, because there are a lot of things that you may find interesting, like the process of making of and everything. It has like has a lot of things going on here, and probably you may find it fun to hear. Hopefully not. I will try to not make this too technical, to be honest. I don't know if I can explain it like super easy, but I will do my best. So I actually have some screenshots from when it started, and unfortunately I didn't record the first day. The first day I was making like the block out, which is like more of a grayscale. I think this was the second day I worked on this. The first day was not looking like this. I will show you about another piece I'm working on at the moment that will show you that process. But basically, you will model everything by parts. Like for example, you will just grab everything here. Not everything I model myself, like the tubes, this kind of stuff I did, this kind of stuff I did. These are really simple shapes, to be honest. If you think about it, like it's not very hard to model. It's just the assembly of different types of things here. And then I start putting some meshes here to give the illusion that you have some detail, because I saw that the bottom structure had a lot of details, like the rocks and everything. So in order to blend this, I actually like went down and made these meshes like cards. Like if I hide them, see if I can. Okay, let me see. Yeah, like you can see here, I'm like I have some patches here that I'm using. I don't know why I can't hide them. Oh, sorry, I was playing the game. So let's stop for a moment, and yeah, hide. You will see that the surface is like really flat, and when I hide another one, and I have some rocks here, so it's all about like getting those details, those shapes and those details where it matters. So I'm gonna go into that later. And I also have like smaller rocks here at the bottom and other rocks to blend with the environment and the bottom part to make it a little bit more realistic. So let's go and see how was the process. So at this point I start putting more elements. Like you can already see like things are starting to work a little bit better. I start putting some ropes. The ropes are actually quite interesting. So in Unreal, you can also program. Obviously, it's not only for making models, it's for, well, you don't usually make the model here. But I kind of made like a little bit of a code here to grab the splines, so I can do the ropes. So let me show you. So I can just do this. And I can just grab here one of the splines and move it. And I can start placing it wherever I want. So that's how I made the ropes that you see here. I put a couple of them. I don't remember if the original concept had like the couple or not. But I took some freedom to move things around because they were very even. And because usually in games, like you have the problem of the gameplay, that some things need to look good at certain angle. I wanted to make it look good from different angles. Usually from you will not see in Age of Empires 4. So it's not exactly the same as the Mansa Quarry, because I took some freedom to move things around to see if if it can look better. So that's for the ropes, and I'm just taking screenshots just to show you, like, then I add some woods here for, you know, this is really interesting. I don't know. Let me try to explain this to you. This is actually acts as a visual blocker, because when your eyes are like looking here, and suddenly they will kind of like bounce like this here, and then will go back. And all these lines are like directional lines, which I find really cool and give a really nice dynamic composition. So these wooden planks actually and the ropes make a huge difference. You can actually see here, like, the ropes actually help you to always watch the main subject. That's called directional lines, that usually you will learn in painting, this kind of stuff. So the same principles in painting you also apply here. And I think here it's just adding more details. Some of them are same screenshot from the same day. I'm trying to find an angle to have like my main shot, and I think it's like something like this. I decide just to have like the foreground, the background, the middle ground. Usually in painting you do something like this, and I think I go for this kind of angle, and then try to play with the lining a little bit, because usually with the lining, let me show you, like, detail lining or lining only. Like I can move the sunlight like this and have like different shadows, and you will get a different result. So what I want is like this part being lit by light, and this part in shadow, so it will make my piece much more interesting. Obviously, if I see this from the other side, it won't be as interesting as the main focal point. That's the problem with games. You need to make them look from every single angle. For me, I'm not really worried about this part because I'm not really want to show it, and I don't really want to work on this part, so you don't notice this detail. But just to keep in mind that the lights are like extremely important in games, and I think Age of Empires 4 has really nice lighting, to be honest. And I think that I add the particles here for the fire. The fire is just like, I didn't make those. I'm not really good with particles. It's not part of my job. So I just grab one from Epic. They have a bunch of assets that you can use, and I feel like this is okay. It's not perfect, you know, but kind of that's the job done. And I go into adding the details here. So the details here are can be very interesting, to be honest. Like, so I'm gonna show you. So normally what happens in game development is like you will make shaders. Shaders are like, it's like the paint you put on top of the surface, but instead of just being a solid color, you add a little bit of instructions. So what's happening here is like I'm blending between different textures from different patterns, because when you look at this I'm actually looking at patterns. I'm not really using my logical brain here to think like, oh, this is brick, this is mud, and whatever. What I'm looking at here, and let me see if I can find yeah, I think this one is quite obvious to see. I'm finding some brick textures here that are very organized. Some like mud brick, like it's kind of like messy like this, so it has like a different pattern. Like if you see it in patterns, like the brick will be like very organized like this, and this one will be like this, so that looks like another thing. So the same with the I add a little bit of plaster here. I know they don't use plaster, but I find like this is like a really flat surface, so combining this tree on my shader using the vertex color, every polygon that you see here, and I'm actually using quite a lot of polygons, you can see here. It's kind of like the same method that Black Myth Wukong used for their game. So I have like millions of polygons in my thing, and it's still I know I'm having a little bit of lag, but my computer is like 5 years old, and this is like kind of heavy. Making games is actually more heavier than actually playing them because it's not optimized yet. So I'm basically working with these textures here. So next on, I think I work on the landscape a little bit just to have some textures to work here. Normally, what can happen here is like I will add that detail from the texture. From this angle, it looks terrible, right? But you will never see it like this. So it's okay for me, and it adds very, very nice detail on the landscape. Obviously, this is a very modern technique. It's kind of expensive, but I don't think they can. The only game that I saw that they used this technique was Black Myth Wukong. That's why it looks so good. But it's not really that hard to make, to be honest. It's not really that hard. So let's go back to next part. So here I think I finally feel pleased with my shot, like with the lights and the composition and everything. Like I was also playing with the environment a lot. Also helps a lot, like having like these lines pointing in this direction. It's really nice. I don't have a background yet. I will add it later. And see, I have the background now. So when you have something like this, you need to add other elements to support your thing. That is called like blending transitions, basically. Like when you just put something like this in the world without any context, it feels like a little bit disconnected. So you start putting rocks or something like that, because maybe these rocks were the same one they used to make this, so they kind of have the same color. And also having a background element here. Ignore the stairs, I was just trying some stuff. Background elements here, it's really nice to have a like atmosphere on your thing, so it feels like very, very it feels like real world, right? So if I actually remove those things, I don't know if I can. Let me see if I can remove the background images. Wow, it's really heavy. Yeah. I hope I don't crash. All right. Okay. So if I remove those, you will see that it starts feeling... why the hell is so slow? Sometimes it happens. Like the GPU is just... It's just unreal things on my 5-year-old computer. So you can see that having the background is really good. And then you add a little bit of fog. This usually like to make the subject on the front pop more and the objects in the background not so interesting. And this is actually a painting technique. Like usually you will put all the details on your paintings where it matters, and the rest you will lose the detail. But because we're not painting in game development in 3D, we actually use fog and depth of field or whatever to make that same effect there. Then I was just playing with the flags. You can see that the flags add a lot of value. I can start showing you why. Oh, finally, it recovered. So let me see if I can find a... Yeah, so like this color here. Normally the scene will have like around this tone of colors, like yellowish, reddish. So the flags, because they're blue, they're actually adding a lot of contrast. Like they're opposites. So by having a little bit of blue, while the rest of the scene is a little bit yellowish, it feels like much better. And it feels like it's... I don't know, it's just better, you know. That's like a trick you use a lot. You can already tell that developers doing this, they actually have a good art foundation, so they actually make the flags like real to the... Like they have good contrast in colors compared to the scene. All right, so And I think that's pretty much it. The rest one is just the flags. I'm just playing with stuff here. The flags is using some wind simulation, so I can actually show you what will happen if I just change the wind. So I can go here for wind, and I have my wind directional source, and I can change the strength, or I can even change the rotation of this, so the wind goes in this way. This one is not using the same wind technique. So basically what's happening here is like I'm using some cloud simulation for this. So I didn't really model the you know, the folds and everything from the cloud. It's just a very simple mesh, and this one is actually having like some kind of noise in the pattern, like world displacement, something like that. So it's I don't really use this technique here because I felt like it was too much, and it didn't work quite well. So these two I actually have like different techniques to make those. And yeah, the rest is just add more details. You can see that like I add grass here and I start painting the ground, because all of this sell the scale of this. Like if I start putting some tree branches, and that's why I actually put the bucket here, so you can see actually how big this is. Because the more objects you add to the scene, like it will feel like much more natural to the viewer. So I think that's pretty much it for the Mansa Quarry. And then the rest is just lighting, you know. I changed the sky and put some lights here. And the sunlight wasn't coming the best direction here, but I really like this one. I really like this shot with the sunlight here, but I couldn't really make it. So I just rotate it. Otherwise it will feel like the sunlight is coming from another direction. And yeah, so actually this was the first part of the blockout that I didn't show you. Maybe it's a sneak peek of what I'm working, but like I said before, I'm really busy. A lot of people were asking like why the models cost so much. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of things that you need to do. This, if someone asked me to make this, maybe I would charge like $3,000, $5,000, or you know, it really depends on a lot who's your client. But I'm actually like doing the same for the English kip, and it actually has a lot of this one will take me like 1 day, 3 hours to make this, just to have like the lay foundation. You can see how it starts, right? It's very you need a lot of faith in this kind of stuff to make this work. So I think here it's like I use nanite here. No, let me just apply this. So you can see like the detail of the bricks that are actually working here. Actually putting these black planes here so I can just have a like wherever you put a sprinkling placement here, like I need to put a size that makes the castle look big, right? And I don't really want to go into details about this piece because it's not finished yet. So I'm gonna leave you guys in the cliffhanger to see like how this goes, right? So still long way to go, and this is really hard to make. So hopefully this has been informative, like you know more about the process of making 3D models. I'll put a link in the description for the video of the Mansa Quarry if you want to watch it, because most of you, actually all of you, only saw the video I made, but they didn't saw the behind the scenes. So I thought this was maybe this was interesting to you based on the comments I got from the last video. It's very funny. A lot of people were very interested on the making of a game. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoy this video, and yeah, have fun.